Detective Jake Lawson had a name, Lucas Price, a career criminal with a history of assault, kidnapping, and evading the law. His fingerprints in Emily's car confirmed he had been near her, and the fact that he had skipped town right after her disappearance made him their prime suspect. Jake wasted no time putting out an APB, a statewide alert for any signs of Price. But men like him knew how to disappear. They lived off the grid, stayed in cheap motels, and left no digital footprint. Then, a break, a gas station receipt, crumpled in Emily's car, time-stamped 2:13 a.m., hours after she was last seen. Jake rushed to the station just off Interstate 85, where the cashier remembered something chilling. "Yeah, I saw him," the old man said, wiping his hands on his apron. "Big guy, looked twitchy, paid cash for gas and a couple of beers." "Was he alone?" Jake asked, his pulse racing. The cashier hesitated. "No." There was a girl in the passenger seat, blonde. Didn't look right, kept her head down, thought she was sleeping, but now I ain't so sure. Jake's gut twisted. That had to be Emily. Security footage confirmed it. A rusted-out blue pickup truck, a terrified-looking woman in the passenger seat. Price had been smart. He kept the camera angle away from Emily's face, but Jake knew it was her. The truck's license plate was barely visible, but Jake's tech team enhanced it. South Carolina plates. Jake's next move was clear. He had to move fast. By noon, another tip came in. A farmer just outside Charleston, South Carolina, had reported seeing a blue pickup heading toward an abandoned warehouse on his property. It was remote, the kind of place you go when you don't want to be found. Jake grabbed his badge, his gun, and his keys. No backup, no waiting. Emily didn't have time for paperwork. He hit the road, sirens blaring, speeding down the highway. If Price was holding Emily in that warehouse, Jake knew one thing. This would be their last chance to save her. He pushed the gas pedal harder. Time was running out. Detective Jake Lawson gripped the wheel tighter as he neared the abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. The tip had been solid. A rusted blue pickup truck, matching the one seen in the gas station footage, was spotted parked near the entrance. Jake cut the headlights and coasted down the dirt road leading to the structure. The warehouse was old, its corrugated metal walls rusted and peeling, windows shattered. It stood alone in a field of overgrown grass, the perfect place to make someone disappear forever. He parked a safe distance away and stepped out quietly, gun drawn. His heart pounded. If Emily was inside, he had to act fast. If Price was armed, this could get ugly. Then, he heard it. A muffled scream. Jake's pulse spiked. He moved swiftly, hugging the shadows as he crept toward the building. He peered through a cracked window. Inside, a single flickering bulb swayed from the ceiling, casting eerie shadows. In the center of the room, Emily Carter sat tied to a chair, her wrists raw from struggling against the ropes. Her eyes were wide with terror. And behind her, Lucas Price stood gripping a knife. Jake didn't hesitate. He burst through the door, gun raised. "Freeze! Drop the knife." Price whipped around, his face twisted in a snarl. "You shouldn't have come here, detective." Emily whimpered, eyes darting between them. The knife glinted under the weak light as Price took a slow step forward. "I won't say it again," Jake warned, his finger tightened on the trigger. "Let her go." Price smirked. "You think you're the hero. You have no idea what's really going on." He lunged. Jake fired. The shot rang out, deafening in the confined space. Price staggered, blood blooming across his chest as he collapsed to the floor. The knife clattered from his grip. His chest heaved once. Then he went still. Jake rushed to Emily, cutting through the ropes. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing. "I thought no one was coming," she whispered. "You're safe now," Jake murmured. "It's over." But as he looked down at Price's lifeless body, something gnawed at him. You have no idea what's really going on. What had Price meant? Something told Jake this wasn't over yet. Emily Carter was safe. Lucas Price was dead. The case should have been closed. But Detective Jake Lawson couldn't shake Price's last words. "You have no idea what's really going on." Back at the station, Jake combed through every file, every piece of evidence, searching for what he had missed. Emily was recovering in the hospital, and her statement confirmed what they already knew. Price had taken her from the diner parking lot, forced her into his truck, and driven off. She didn't know why. He hadn't asked for money, hadn't made demands. He had just muttered things like, "It wasn't supposed to be you." That's what didn't sit right. Why take Emily if she wasn't his intended target? Then, a new detail emerged. Forensics found something odd on Price's burner phone, a series of deleted texts, partially recovered. The messages weren't from Price. They were to him. "A no number, you have the wrong girl, fix it." "No number, she's not the one, get rid of her." Jake's blood ran cold. Someone else had been calling the shots. Someone else had wanted Emily gone, or had mistaken her for someone else entirely. Then another piece of the puzzle fell into place. Security footage from a bar near the diner, taken just hours before Emily vanished, showed a woman who looked almost exactly like her. Same blonde hair, same height, same build. But when Jake ran facial recognition, it wasn't Emily. It was Rachel Moore, Emily's best friend. Jake's gut twisted. Price had taken Emily by mistake. Rachel was the real target. Jake rushed to Rachel's apartment, sirens blaring. He pounded on the door. No answer. He kicked it in. The place was ransacked. Drawers overturned, furniture smashed. Rachel was gone. A single note was left behind, written in red ink on the wall. "We'll get the right girl this time." Jake's stomach turned to ice. The case wasn't over. It was just beginning. The last time anyone saw Emily Carter, she was stepping out of O'Malley's Diner on Main Street in the sleepy town of Willow Creek, North Carolina. It was a quiet Wednesday night, the kind where nothing ever happens. Until it does. The security camera captured her walking toward her car at exactly 10:37 p.m. She wasn't in a hurry, didn't seem nervous, just another late-night customer heading home. Then nothing. By morning, Emily's car was still in the parking lot, locked. Her purse sat on the passenger seat, her phone dead, tucked inside. There was no sign of a struggle, no shattered glass, no signs that anything had gone wrong. And yet, Emily Carter was nowhere to be found. Detective Jake Lawson had seen enough missing persons cases to know that most of them had simple explanations. A lover's quarrel, an unannounced road trip, even a case of someone just wanting to start over. But something about Emily's disappearance unsettled him. She wasn't the type to just vanish. At 28, Emily lived a structured life. She worked as a paralegal at a small law firm, went to the gym 3 nights a week, and called her mother every Sunday like clockwork. No criminal record, no history of erratic behavior, no reason to run. The first call came from Rachel Moore, Emily's best friend. "She was supposed to meet me for coffee this morning," Rachel told Jake, her voice trembling. "She never showed. That's not like her." Emily's parents were next. They had called her the night before, no answer. By morning they were panicked. "She wouldn't do this," her mother insisted. "Something's wrong." The search began immediately. Officers combed through security footage from nearby stores, but no cameras caught her leaving the parking lot. It was as if she had been plucked from existence. Then, just before noon, a witness came forward. A truck driver who had been passing through town around midnight claimed he saw something strange. "There was a woman standing near the diner's parking lot," he said. "She looked lost, confused, and then she just disappeared into the darkness." Jake felt a chill creep up his spine. Something wasn't right. Emily Carter was missing, and time was running out. Detective Jake Lawson knew that when a person goes missing, the first 48 hours were critical. Every passing minute reduced the chances of finding them alive. It had been 12 hours since Emily Carter vanished, and already the clock was working against them. The morning light revealed no new clues in the diner's parking lot. No tire marks, no scuffle, no blood. It was as if Emily had stepped into the night and never returned. Jake started with the basics: interviews, security footage, phone records. Emily's parents, Mark and Linda Carter, were beside themselves with worry. She was supposed to come by this weekend, her mother said, clutching a framed photo of her daughter. She always lets us know where she is. Always. Her best friend, Rachel Moore, sat in the station, red-eyed and restless. She was fine, she insisted. We texted around 9:30. She told me she was finishing dinner and heading home. Nothing seemed off. Jake checked Emily's phone records. The last activity was a text sent to Rachel at 9:36 p.m. After that, silence. No calls, no outgoing messages. It was as if her phone had gone dark. Then came the first lead. A truck driver passing through town just after midnight claimed he saw a woman standing near the road close to the diner. She looked confused, he told the officers, like she wasn't sure where she was. I thought about stopping, but when I looked again, she was gone. The word haunted Jake. If Emily had left willingly, where had she gone? And if someone had taken her, why was there no sign of a struggle? Forensics swept her car, dusting for prints, checking for any clues. Nothing was immediately unusual, except for one thing. The driver's seat was pushed back farther than expected, as if someone much taller than Emily had been behind the wheel. Then another tip came in. A woman had called 911 around 11:45 p.m., reporting screams near Route 12, a desolate road leading out of town. She hadn't stopped, too afraid, but the dispatcher logged it. Jake's gut told him this wasn't a coincidence. Emily Carter didn't just disappear. Something had happened to her. And if they didn't find her soon, it might be too late. Detective Jake Lawson had learned one hard truth over the years. No one is ever truly as they seem. On the surface, Emily Carter was a responsible, quiet woman with a simple life. No enemies, no drama, no reason to vanish. But people always have secrets. Jake dug deeper, combing through Emily's past for anything that didn't fit. It didn't take long to find something. Buried in old police records was a restraining order. A year ago, Emily had filed one against a man named Daniel Brooks, an ex-boyfriend with a history of obsessive behavior. The case had never gone to trial, and Emily never mentioned him to friends or family. Jake's first stop was Brooks' last known address, a small, run-down house on the outskirts of Willow Creek. The man who answered the door had the hollow eyes of someone who didn't sleep much. He looked thinner than his mugshot, his dark hair disheveled, his fingers twitching. "I haven't seen Emily in months," Daniel said, leaning against the doorway. "She made sure of that." "But you tried, didn't you?" Jake pressed. "You sent her emails, messages. She stopped responding." Daniel gave a bitter laugh. "Of course she did. She was scared of me." Jake studied him. "Should she have been?" Daniel's expression darkened. "I messed up, okay? But I never hurt her. I never would." There was no sign of Emily inside the house. No evidence that Daniel had been near her recently. But Jake wasn't ready to rule him out just yet. Back at the station, forensics called with something new. They had lifted a set of unidentified fingerprints from Emily's car, ones that didn't belong to her, Daniel, or anyone in her immediate circle. A database search found a match. Lucas Price. Jake's stomach tightened. Price wasn't just some random guy. He was a drifter with a criminal record that included assault and kidnapping. He had passed through Willow Creek the night Emily disappeared. A second report confirmed something worse. Price's last known address was just a few miles from where the 911 caller reported hearing screams. This wasn't just a missing person case anymore. Emily hadn't left willingly. Someone had taken her. And now Jake had a name.